So today we're going to be working on the back. And so we're going to lie down on our front and start with crocodile breathing, which works on not just the abdominals but on the multifidus in your lumbar spine, which in most people can be a little bit tight, but that doesn't mean to say they're strong. Sometimes they're tight and exhausted, which means they're weak. So if you're lying on your front, put your head on one hand, put your head to one side, put the other hand around on your back and breathe into your hand. So you can feel your lumbar spine start to move. You're not moving your pelvis, the pelvis stays still. If you're a visual person, you can imagine that you've got a balloon inside this part of your back and you're inflating the balloon every time you breathe in. So you can put your head down if you want to, you can tuck your chin in and rest your forehead on blankets or a towel or a book or on your hand. And if it gets uncomfortable putting your hand here, put it back underneath your forehead. So what you're trying not to do is to lift your chin and rest your head like that, because you'll tighten up the neck muscles and they can overwork for your lower back. And as you rest there, pay attention to how your body feels, where it's feeling heavy, if you're resting over more on one side than the other, so you have equal pressure on the legs and the feet. Okay, then bend one knee, reach around with your hand and grab your foot and gently push into your hand. So the foot feels like it's pressing into the hand as if you're trying to straighten the leg. So as you stop pressing, try and bring the heel a bit closer towards your glute and you'll feel a stretch on your quads, the front of your thighs. When they're tight, when your hips are tight, they'll switch off your glutes. They'll overwork for the glutes because they're the opposite area, the opposite muscle, one of the opposites for your glutes. So you try not to arch your back, so keep the pelvis on the mat. So pelvic bone, pubic bone, the front of the body, front of the pelvis is touching the mat. And then let it go, change legs. You'll find that one side can feel completely different to the other. So my left side feels a bit tight today. So I can feel that my tailbone's trying to lift and the front of my pelvis is on the mat. So I'm trying to tuck under and reduce the stretch slightly, so I'm not overworking the back muscles. Let your shoulders go and don't hold your breath. And then let it go. So I'm going to stay on that leg. So the leg you've just worked, keep it straight, lift and lower 5 times. And then change legs. And then let the legs relax for a moment, take the arms out in front of you, so the face is off the mat. Tuck the chin in, lift one arm, bring it down, change sides. So if keeping the face off the mat makes your neck ache, rest your forehead on a rolled up blanket, a towel, something like that. Front of the pelvis is still on the mat, so you're not lifting your tailbone up to the ceiling. So you think pubic bone to rib cage. So the abdominals are helping the back support the spine. And then add the opposite leg. Long spine, chin tucked. Reach through the fingers, reach through the toes. Last one on each side from wherever you are. And then keep the legs down, let the arms come out to the side. Lift the head, lift the heart, lift the chest. Let the fingers reach for your feet. Let your shoulder blades hug your spine and then come back down. Breathe out. Breathe in as you come back up. Shoulder blades hug your spine. Breathe out, come back down. Breathe in as you lift. Breathe out as you release. Breathe in as you lift. Breathe out as you release. Last one, you're going to stay up there. Turn the palms down. Let the arms come out to the side and let them reach out in front of you. Take the arms to the side and back to the legs. So this is tricky because most of us are holding onto a phone or on a computer or doing some kind of craft or something. You don't really use your arms that much like that. So arms go out to the side and arms, as when you get to here, it's the muscles in the lower part of your shoulders that are trying to stabilise your shoulder blades to lift your arms. And that's the tricky bit. Make sure you're not hiking your shoulders up to your ears. Otherwise you're cheating. No cheating. And then bend the elbows, put the hands on the floor and start to lift. Either come up onto your elbows or straighten the arms and then come back down. So you're in a swan dive. Either onto the elbows or straight arms. If you find your shoulders are lifting up to here, then stay on the elbows. Or if you're trying to lift up into a push-up position, you're overworking your back muscles. So stay on the elbows if you're doing that. It's not how far you're going, it's what you're using to get there. So just being aware of, as you lift, the heart lifts off the mat, the pubic bone stays on the mat. Your gaze is towards the front of the mat, so you're not looking up in front of you because you'll be scrunching up the back of your neck. 2 more. So this is the last one. You're going to hold it up there from wherever position feels comfortable for you, and then turn your head as if you're looking over your right shoulder, and then turn to the other side. And again, 1 more on each side. Come back to centre, come down to rest on the elbows, but bring the elbows close as if they're just underneath the armpits. Front of the pelvis again is touching the floor. Lift the heart. So if my hand was between your shoulder blades, you'd be pushing your chest bone up into my hand. Just pause here for a moment and breathe into the lower back. And then imagine my hands on your lumbar spine and you're breathing into my hand. Watch your shoulders aren't drifting up to your ears and your chest bone isn't drifting down to the floor. You're going to bend one knee and do 2 kicks. Release the leg, change sides. Now as you switch from side to side, try not to shift the shoulder blades or your ribs. So you don't end up sinking down into your chest bone. Your chest bone staying up towards the collarbone, towards the shoulder blades. Towards the ceiling, think about that. Just imagine my hand is always there between your shoulder blades and you're pushing up into my hand. Last one on each side. And then come back down, rest your forehead back on your hands, bring the legs together, bend the knees and do 3 kicks. 1, 2, 3, release the legs. 3 kicks, 1, 2, 3, release the legs. So without the pelvis moving, 1, 2, 3, release the legs. 2 more. Shoulders soft, relax your jaw. And then come back into child's pose. Toes together, knees apart. Let your sit bones reach for your heels. It's quite nice to start child's pose in a kneeling position and then you start to reach forward. And then roll yourself up, come onto your hands and knees, spread the fingers wide and be equal on the knees and the feet. Take one arm out in front of you and the opposite leg and lift them off the floor. Pause in that position. Now if you feel a bit wobbly, let the leg come down and touch the floor and just stay with the arm out in front of you. Change sides. So you're aiming for your spine to be in the centre. Try not to push your weight over the knee that's on the floor. So you're not pushing your hip out, which means the glute muscles, the little glute medius and glute minimus here on the side of your hip, have to work to stabilise your pelvis. So as you lift, check you're not pushing your hip out over the outside of the knee. Keep the weight on the inside of the knee. So you're in the centre. Watch your head isn't dropping, so you're not using your neck muscles. Back of the neck long and towards the ceiling. Last time on the other side. So keep the arm lifted, bring the leg down, take the arm through the gap and watch it go. Bring it back, take it up to the ceiling. Exhale as you come down. Inhale as you lift. Let your shoulder blade pull you round. Lower shoulder blade helps lift you. Last one on that side. And then come back to the hands and knees, spread the fingers wide, tuck your toes under so you get a stretch underneath the fascia of your toes. Let your tailbone stay long but slightly tuck under so the ribs and the pelvic bone come together a little bit so you're not completely rolled under like that. You're not completely tucked under and not completely arched. You're halfway. And then you lift your knees a little bit. Squeeze the back of the armpits as you lift the knees. So you're stabilising using your shoulders, using your abdominals. You're not pulling your abs in and you're not holding your breath. Push the floor away with your hands. And then come back down, rest your feet and go back into child's pose. Rest your wrists. And then come back up onto the elbows. So you're going to stretch yourself out. Your body's off the floor. You're on your elbows. Press the hands into the mat. So you've got your bum up in the air, yes? So you're going to take one leg back, tuck the toes under. So your body starts to come down about a little bit. So you're not sticking your bum up in the air. Take the other leg back, tuck the toes under. Bring one leg down, bring one leg down. Tuck the toes under one leg, lift the knee. The other leg, lift the knee, push the floor away with your arms. Bring one leg down, bring one leg down. Tuck the toes under, lift the knee. Other side. Watch you're not dropping the head. Bring the knee down, bring the knee down. One more on each side. And then come back into child's pose, rest. And then roll yourself up onto your side. Bend your knees onto your elbow and we do a side bend. You're breathing as you lift and breathe out as you come back down. So using your obliques but also using back muscles to lift you. And the back muscles are also, both sides, helping lift you up to the ceiling, but also the inner thigh of this bottom leg coming up into the pelvis and across to this side, which comes across to the opposite shoulder, so it's all connected. So if you're a visual person, imagine that you're lifting up from the inner thighs of the bottom leg. It helps pick you up. Now if you're feeling like you want to make it more challenging, you straighten the legs. And you can move the arm if you want to as well. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. Last one, you're going to hold the last one up there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back down, same size. Bending the knees, elbow underneath the arm. Neck stays long, so you try not to let your face go forward of your chest, otherwise you'll be working on your neck muscles. Breathe in, exhale, come down. So arm can stay here. If you don't want to move it, it can stay here. If you have it here on the floor, the tendency is to try and roll the body forward. But you're trying to keep the collarbone wide and the hips in the front. You don't go into your back muscles. You're not trying to twist them. You're trying to help them lift and lower the spine and stay in this stable, long position. Check your neck isn't scrunching up. And then on this side, if you want to go into long legs, go ahead, although stay with your bent knee position. Use this arm to push the floor away. Use the whole of that forearm to lift you. And the inner thigh with that bottom leg, visualise as being picked up towards the ceiling. So you're going to hold the next one up there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back down and come over onto the hands and knees, and we'll finish with a cat stretch. So tucking the tailbone, dropping the head, lifting the tailbone, lifting the head, rolling through the spine. When you drop the head, let the shoulder blades move away from the spine. And when you lift the head, let the shoulder blades hug the spine. Last 2. And then come back and shake out your hands so your wrists can release. As if you're shaking water off them, yes. And give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. So it's a quick little 15 minutes of Pilates on working on your back muscles. All the way down here and either side. Lower shoulder blades to help you stop doing this, but bring you more to this pull down position, so you don't have to feel like you've got to pull your shoulder blades all the down all the time, but they do it naturally, which will help open up your ribs, your lungs, so you have more space here to breathe. You're not compressing down here all the time. Happy practicing.